Patty, as you know very well, we have much less than half of our community who's voting in most elections, who is actually engaged in having discussions like we have. What do you say to the single mother who's out shopping at the grocery store? She walks outside, somebody walks up to her with this petition and says, "Are you afraid of losing your job?" If that woman's watching this show, what would you say to her?
I think people need to get themselves educated on this and realize that this will do more danger. This is my personal opinion, but this will do more danger to this state and our community than anything I've seen come forward. I think that we can take, in Lincoln we've got, 53 languages in Lincoln Public Schools. We are a diverse community and we welcome that. We as a nation are a melting pot of immigrants, and that is what our nation was founded on. But a diversity, a rich diversity, can only make us all more tolerant and more educated and a richer community by seeing the experiences of other people. And so people need to understand this ballot initiative would force the university's hand to not allow them to make some exceptions and bring in some people from other countries that might as a nation of immigrants might bring forward some wonderful results in this country as well. So,
all right.
Josh, you know, racism is always present. And the NAACP is a nonpartisan organization, as you know. We can discuss issues, but we don't take issues with political and campaign issues, and that won't do that today. But, you know, as you look at, you ask about racism, and we look at in Nevada just this past week, when people are applying for jobs or running for jobs, even at the highest level, racism is injected based upon the TV programs I was watching this morning, Good Morning America, not Good Morning America, the morning show this morning, and the paper. Racism is injected to politics, as we'll see the Obama and Clinton campaign. Right, wrong, and different. I'm just simply reporting what the news said. So there's a fear being put in people's minds that if you compete, and if you happen to be a minority or a woman, there will be issues there that you ought to be afraid of, and unfounded issues, and again, injecting racism. So I think until we can move away from that, and this is 1965 and going back to slavery, 1865 when slavery ended, there has been a barrier there for people of color and women that we have been unable to overcome. Just as I mentioned with the Homesteaders Act, 40 years after Nebraska's Homestead Act, we were still trying to get free land in Nebraska. You know, why is that? I saw in the morning's paper the Tuskegee Airmen are being honored by the aviation a group here. It's 60-some years after the war that Tuskegee Airmen, world-renowned aviators who flew many, many missions and never lost an aircraft to enemy fire. And it's 60-some years later that we're now beginning to recognize those persons. And you got to say, you know, what is that? Is that racism? Or just, oh, no, it's like we overlooked the Tuskegee Airmen. Still one of the most renowned persons in this country, controversial, however, Malcolm X cannot get into the Nebraska Hall of Fame. And you got to say, what is that? When he is one of the persons who actually changed the face of this country. And so there are lots of things that need to happen in all areas of affirmative action. And just recognizing persons' own abilities and hiring those persons based upon their abilities is one way of doing that. We need affirmative action.
I always try to get to, in case we've gotten some of our viewers' blood going a little bit here, we only have a few minutes left, and I think, well, what would they do? You know, they're sitting there on their couch, drinking their coffee or whatever they're doing, and they hear this and they think, well, this is not right. Leroy, what could people do if they want to get involved in this, in opposing this affirmative action, anti-affirmative action ballot initiative?
One thing, if you're approached by the persons who asking you to sign a petition, in your own good conscience, you ask yourself, do I want my son or daughter to have equal access, equal opportunity for any job they choose to apply for and qualify for in the state of Nebraska? Would I like to see my daughter head of a corporation, or son or daughter, in case of a minority? And if you can answer that in the affirmative, then don't sign the affirmative action policy. Do I enjoy women's sports? Do I enjoy male athletics, then don't answer that. And by all means, if this gets to the ballot, and the NAACP, in this case, this is an issue, is going to do all we can legally can to prevent this from happening. Vote no, or depending on how the ballot is written, that's another trickery that sometimes happens. Make sure you read the ballot carefully and understand that how you vote, that you vote in your conscience, and in this case, vote against abolishing the affirmative action in Nebraska. But be very careful to the ballot. We're going to be working on the issues to make sure that the ballot is clear, so if a person votes no, that they want to, yes, they want to abolish it, that yes means they're going to abolish it, not yes, they're going to keep it.
How can people get a hold of you or the NAACP if they want to learn more about this issue?
Please call our office at 475-4700, or write us at our address, P.O. Box 81322, here in Lincoln, Nebraska, 68508. And we'll be glad to talk to you. And we need to get people in, who believes in keeping the affirmative action on the rolls. We need to begin to organize ways to do that. So businesses, agencies, organizations, people who think and believe that affirmative action is important, we want to retain it, contact us and let us work together, because there's a very highly paid, orchestrated group out there, and some not even living in Nebraska, some who don't care about Nebraska's values, trying to eliminate affirmative action. And you got to ask the question, why would someone outside of Nebraska come in and try to change Nebraska? It's money. Patte and I are volunteering and talking to you from our heart, what we strictly believe in, and that's the greatest proof in my way of thinking that you can show one's concern and commitment. One who do it voluntarily, unpaid, or as opposed to one who does it by high-paid jobs.
All right, well, we don't have much time left, so just a reminder our viewers, you've been watching The Watchful Citizen. Lancaster County Democrats Public Relations Committee has brought you this program. I'm Josh Cramer. We've had Leroy Stokes,